Shalom. Today in Misnomers of the Torah, we're going to talk about a Medrash that we all learned when we were a kid. That at Har Sinai, Hashem lifted Har Sinai above the Jewish people's heads and said that if you accept my mitzvos, you will live. If you reject my Torah, this will be your grave. And Bnei Israel looked up at the mountain and said, well, this is an offer we cannot refuse, and they accepted the Torah. That's not literally what happened. And let's make sure that we understand that a person that takes all Midrashim literally, as the Rambam says, is a fool, and a person that discounts all the Midrashim as literal and doesn't think any of them are literal is an idiot. You have to understand which are true and which aren't. Now, it's pretty fantastical to imagine a situation where the Torah was lifted, where Har Sinai was lifted, an entire mountain was lifted over the people's heads, and while other facts of Har Sinai, the loud noise, the fire, the shofars, all of that is recorded in the Torah, the most momentous part of Har Sinai would have to have been the mountain being lifted up, and that's what was left out of the Torah. Very, very difficult to believe. Rather, the idea is as follows. It's a metaphoric idea that the Medrash is conveying, and one that teaches us about mitzvos, which is the following, that we all have free choice. We can all choose what we do, but sometimes the choices are so obvious that we don't actually have free choice. All of us drive over bridges all the time, and yet we have a choice to jump off the bridge or drive our car off the bridge, and we have free choice to do that, yet it's such an obvious decision not to do that none of us do. And that's the idea of free choice, facing free choice, that when Bnei Israel were at Har Sinai, they had a rendezvous with God. They heard a voice produced by God. They saw physical phenomena they had never seen before. And it made the choice whether to accept mitzvahs and lead a Torah life so obvious, it was almost as if they didn't have a choice. It was an offer too good to refuse, almost as if a mountain was held over their head, and that's how obvious the choice was. And that's the message that the Medrash is trying to get over to us. It's not that a literal mountain was raised over Bnei Israel's head, but rather that the choice, just as it would have been so obvious had the mountain been raised over their head, was so obvious as to what they should do, they made the right choice and accepted the Torah. And we should always strive to come back to that moment at Har Sinai and make it that obvious for us as well. Shalom.